So finally, yeah, I guess welcome to what is going to be a tentative title, Epiphany Talks. You know, this is, I guess I should introduce Marvin, and yeah, this is a young man that I met on a different project, and yeah, sometimes you just meet somebody and it's like, you know, this is the kind of person I want on my team, basically. You know, this kind of person that I want to work with. You know, you can tell when it's somebody to believe in. So yeah, you know, like it kind of brought me, Marvin and I together. I guess Marvin, you can, I guess, give a little bit about yourself. But...
Yeah, man. So, like he said, Marvin, 22-year-old. Yeah, man. I got aspirations to just grow, develop. Still on the journey, as we all are, but no doubt, I'm getting closer to, you know, understanding who I am, who I want to become. Yeah, like Kevin said, man, I'm grateful to have met him. And I feel like in life, we meet people that allow us to elevate and grow, and equally people that don't. But you gotta, you know, just identify the energy you need to be around. Yeah, I feel like we're heading in the right places. I'm just looking forward to, you know, what's to come. You know what I mean? Between just what we're gonna build on and what we're gonna learn and develop on, man. So yeah.
For sure, man. I tell you that, you know, we got out together, you know, we created the content in London, you know, just kind of a bit of an introductory just to see what's possible and kind of give an idea of how I work, you know, my vision, you know, like what you have to articulate and how we can work together in the future.
Yeah.
It's like I said, you know, as my business continues to grow, I need people that I can both rely on and, you know, that I can partner with in a lot of ways, you know, like on different projects and collaborators. It's very important. It's one of those buzzwords that you hear when people talk about, content or about entrepreneurship. Collaboration is something that comes up, you know, often.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just kind of we had the opportunity to kind of feel each other out, just, you know, see like, okay, how can we, you know, make this work? And based on the last time that we met up, and we kind of went over some fundamentals about content, about branding, and about like what you stand for, what you're passionate about, and that discussion, you know, that chance that we had to cipher, that really kind of birthed this concept, this idea that I had, and this idea, what it's based on is just discussions. It's about bridging gaps. And so ultimately, as this project continues to grow, you know, I want to bring in people from different backgrounds, different nationalities, you know, kind of different levels of social status. And it's all about kind of communicating your truths.
Yeah.
And really, you know, ultimately, you know, it's like I know what I stand for. You know, like I said, when I met you, I saw you and I was like, wow, you know, like I know that you're going places. And, you know, like I think mentorship is important to me. And I could tell that you're somebody to believe in, you know, and so if I can help you in any kind of way, and if we can work together in any kind of way to mutually, you know, like, you know, achieve success.
Yeah, fair.
As a person who grew up, you know, like a person of color, you know, kind of grew up, you know, underprivileged, and that I think that something that we talked about last time was how we both wish that we had a familiarity with either success or the various options for constructing success earlier. And so I'm kind of hoping that through this, you know, through these series of talks, that, you know, we will kind of, like I said, bridge those gaps, you know, kind of share the knowledge or share the experiences of how to grow beyond kind of what we've known or what, you know, what our past had maybe relegated us to, and then impart, you know, some of those tips and some of those, you know, some of that insight to future generations, to the youngsters, to other underprivileged, you know, people, or just people in general, you know, who are about something positive. And so, yeah, I thought that, you know, as we maybe pull in, you know, other entrepreneurs or, you know, CEOs, business owners, people who work in the community, that we can share our experiences, the things that are relative to us. And it's not all about being around people who are exactly like you, because that's not, in my opinion, how change occurs. Change for me occurs when you have people who are in contrast, and your perspective, you know, you can impart it in such a way that they can grow from it, that they can absorb it, and they can glean it.
Yeah, facts. Yeah.
And before I leave, you know, this statement, you know, like one of the things, because I'm fortunate. I think like yourself, there's something that's a little bit universal about us. We can be in the hood, we can be in a really, kind of a corporate environment, and in a lot of other areas in between, and we're fortunate that we can navigate those channels and that we're not, kind of restricted to either what we've known or what people expect of us.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. That's why I feel like regardless of where you're from or your background, you've always got to overcome, because in life, as you know, we're always going to endure certain things. Regardless of the magnitude, we're always going to go through certain things, and being able to understand that, because I feel like a lot of people at times don't understand that, certain things are put in place, certain things we go through for the greater means, for a greater result, a greater outcome. But when you don't have that fundamental understanding, you crumble, man, a lot of the time in certain situations. And like you mentioned, certain things put in place that obviously are beyond our own control. I don't believe we should be subject to that and allow it to limit our elevation. So, yeah, man, definitely I can resonate with that.
True that, man. It's I tell you, as we look to, so like when I approached you about this, this project, I was like, okay, I think it would benefit us to have a few, kind of points to cover, and I know there was in particular, really as it related to you and our last discussion, one of the things that I wanted to kind of to touch upon was, I guess, your vision for how to, achieve or realize success, because I know that you are a big fan of Nipsey Hussle. I got a lot of love for Nipsey personally. My very favorite kind of hip hop artist, and obviously is going to have an influence on us, I guess culturally, what we listen to, the people that we look to emulate. But so Jay-Z is somebody who I was always a huge fan of from the very beginning, from his first album, because I think it's easy to gloss over the general understanding or the commercial understanding of who an artist is, but if you really delve deeply into like what he's saying, and like then I think that you can get a different degree of substance. And I think one of the pitfalls for myself, just yourself, just people like us, people who look to emulate celebrities or stars or people who've overcome. So as you say, you take both Jay-Z and you take Nipsey. If we're looking to be entrepreneurs and we're listening to their music and we're thinking, okay, how can we achieve either success or credibility in a way that they did? I think one of the things that we oftentimes, kind of fail to realize is that, these people, they hustled, they weren't like going to school and getting a job to get the platform to give themselves a voice. They had capital that came from nefarious activities. And I think that's a critical thing to kind of consider, like we get so easy to get caught up in the star culture and Instagram and the rest. And it's, you forget that the people that you're looking to emulate, that, they had different resources or they had, different options available to them. And so, we can't just look to kind of carbon copy, the people that, that we admire or respect, even if it's true what they're saying. We have to be more honest about what's available to us.
Yeah, facts. And then there's the question of, obviously there's not understanding that, and then if you do understand that, then how do you go about it in a way that, allows you to admire and respect, their humble beginnings and how they went about, bringing about the success that they have attained of today, but then also how can I go about my own way in an innovative way whereby I may not want to or have to go through the means they had to go through, but still, emulate that measure of wealth and success, which is something I feel like I'm in the transition of currently, like finding, because I feel like when it comes to entrepreneurship, like it's all good having a business and an idea, And it's something you hit home on a few hours ago actually as well. Like, you're not so much concerned about what business you thrive in, but it's just the idea that, you know, you are able to use your innovation, your creativity in a means that, you know, creates wealth and money, but, you know, targets a deeper purpose beyond that, and being able to channel, you know, your skills and your talents and your passion through creative means, and not through just the fact that it's a business.
Yeah, no, I get you, man. And
Yeah,
it's
man.
like, I tell you what it was is, I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I say I read it, you know, I actually listened to it on tape. And there have been 2-3 books over the past year and a half, 2 years that have been really kind of critical, pivotal, and helping me to develop my approach or my priorities. In the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know, I grew up poor. And so I had no concept of assets, owning property, or of having some kind of taking control, I guess, in my course. You know, like if you grew up, that's one of the things that the book kind of touches on. You grew up, oftentimes people grow up with this worker's mentality, and they're like, okay, you get a job, you work, you save, you know, you invest in a house, and that's your security. And that is a way to plug yourself into the system and not ever really be able to be separate of it, I guess is a way to put it.
Facts, yeah.
Whereas if you learn to procure assets, you learn to recognize assets and opportunities and develop them, then that gives you, you know, kind of, I guess, the leeway to live your life, or to kind of pursue your proclivities, the things that you're passionate about, and you can live by your own kind of terms.
Yeah.
And so that's, I guess, like you were saying, that was the thing. You know, I guess some people might know. You know, like I work in production in rigging, so I've been doing production rigging as a self-employed rigger for the past 19 years, and yeah, I'm fortunate to work on great projects. It brings in, you know, kind of great income, and it's something that I've not necessarily always been super fulfilled with, but as I've become more of a professional, I've kind of received the respect, you know, that I feel that I kind of deserve in terms of my aptitude and the time that I've on my expertise. And with it, I've also got my business where I create media. I do corporate media, photograph weddings, do videography.
Yeah.
And before reading this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know, my idea was, okay, how the way that I can be independent is that I can start this business, Epiphany Content, create media, get some clients, continue to grow and scale. And that's my way to rise above kind of what I've known, my way to elevate, as you would say.
Yeah.
And after reading this book, you know, you're thinking about it, and it's like, well, the way that you generate revenue isn't important, because you don't always want to be working to generate revenue. You want assets, you want things that bring in revenue while you sleep. And so whether that is, a simple concept, investing in a car wash, you know, so you buy yourself this little car wash where people go in and they throw £1 in it, you know, and they wash their cars or whatever. You buy that, you know, if you own it, then you're just going to have residual income that comes in. And learning to think in a way where you get residuals from a number of different streams, investing, and not depending on the equity that you have in your house. That's a way of breaking free of the constraints of the worker's mentality and learning to generate, you know, assets. And so that's kind of like where I'm at personally.
Yeah.
That I'm really more focused on how to put myself in a position to both recognize and, you know, action when there is an opportunity to invest in an asset or be a part of an asset. And so, yeah, that's a critical point for me, at least in my life where I'm at now. And it's something that, you know, I think it would be great. I mean, if I was 10 and I had that that understanding,
no doubt.
I would be way ahead of the game where I'm at
doubt.
now. And so it's kind of thing that I want people to, from a background similar to me, to maybe consider or look into. You know, like that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know, like it's a big one.
Yeah. No, I feel that. It's similar to you, because I feel that a lot of people my age, or should I say, a lot of people my age or my generation that tend to go uni, because I feel like unless you have studied accounting or you just have a desire to be into that kind of field, not really people know the understanding behind the asset. And it's like, obviously with uni as well, the way it's all set up in place, it's like, essentially you are stuck in that worker's mentality, because the pressure, once you come out of uni, is to get us to secure a job, you know, to essentially pay off that debt. So then the question comes in places, where are you, you know, enjoying that wealth? Where are you enjoying that money? The income that you're making, is it really for you, or is it for what you've invested in? And even what you've invested in, you're not really seeing any fruits from it, because, you know, during your time of uni, it's all being dedicated to the things that allow you to gain the knowledge you're supposed to gain. So it's like, it's crazy in itself. But, you know, for those that don't really understand the term of an asset, what would you define as one? And, you know, what are examples of, you know, of an asset in itself? And, you know, ones that, like you said, you can earn income from, because assets are, you know, resources, but they're more than that. So, you know,
I tell you, man, it's one of my best friends from high school. He came to visit me like 4 years ago, and this was before Bitcoin exploded.
yeah,
And he works for Ernst Young. You know, he's a fairly high level, you know, kind of corporate bigwig. I'm sure he won't appreciate me calling him a bigwig and that. But anyway, so my homie, he was telling me, you know, when he visited, he's like, Kev, you know, do whatever you can to put money into Bitcoin. You know, like whatever you have to do it, put it into Bitcoin. And I'm like, well, Anthony, I'm broke, you know, like I don't have anything. I'm barely able to, you know, kind of like pay my bills at the moment. And he's like, hey, you know, if there's anything that I could just please. And like within 6 months, because he studied trends, you know, he's into the game. And well, it had to be like about 6-8 months later, it's like the big Bitcoin boom came. And I want to say that it had like an 8 times return on investment. And so kind of learning to either predict or to understand where to get the information to know how to invest your resources. So if I'd have put $2,000, you know, into Bitcoin, then, you know, I could have, you know, cleared, you know, say 15 grand. Then you take that 15 grand, and then, you know, you take the equity, or you take what you've, you know, gained out of it when you feel like it's the right point. So say you take 10 grand out of it when it's near the high point, and then you take and you put that into either a startup. Say there's a startup that, so I do a lot of networking at the Institute of Directors. I took you to the IOD meeting. And so when you network, you meet people, and you know that, like you were mentioning a minute ago when we were talking, and you're talking about how important automation and machine learning is, and how that is having such a huge impact on industry. All of people who have, you know, either have businesses or startups in those industries, they're at the IOD. You know, they're at the IOD 99 startup looking to get their idea and materialize it. You meet the right people at the right time who, you know, you do your homework, you invest in what they have, and you just have to be constantly plugged in. You have to be constantly reading and learning and knowing what are trends, what's driving markets, and learn how to not spend the excess capital that you have, that one has on watches or on, you know, kind of superfluous, you know, just kind of luxuries. And learn, the big part of this book is about learning how to put, like, luxuries are something that you treat yourself with for investing in assets efficiently. It's not something that you spend your capital on. You don't spend working capital on luxuries. It's only something 8 years down the road, after a string of, you know, good investments in procuring assets, that's when the luxuries come in. And so it's a different mentality. Whereas now, you know, it's like if we get a good job, then it's like, hey, I've got a good job, let me spend as much excess money as that I have, you know, like to show people, hey, look, I've got a great house, I've got a great car, great clothes. But that relegates you to that level. And so it's really changing the mentality. So it's like, I would highly recommend this, you know, this Rich Dad Poor Dad. And another book, the other book that I read was, I tell you, this is one, even that helped me be in a point where I can absorb rich dad poor dad is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
And this book was written, I think, back in the 50s, and it's so old school. And I'm again, it's a book that I have on tape, and I will, just listen to it. I'm on my second read at the moment, and it is so useful of understanding how to develop relationships and learning how critical relationships are to your success. And it's I can't recommend that book highly enough. But I think we have to always be keen on learning and on absorbing new information if we want to better ourselves.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so learning what to read, and what, again, in that book was recommended to me by Richard Mulhern, who's another friend from way back, who I respect and admire and trust his perspectives. And he's that's it. You just have to make, friendships, alliances, relationships with key people who will elevate you, who will push you beyond, not with whom you'll be either comfortable or that you'll always feel that, you have more knowledge than, you always have to be challenged and put yourself in the perspective of people who will challenge you.
Yeah, no doubt. And I feel like that's a problem for, I say people that come from my background anyway, like where I grew up, or anyone coming from a place that's very less privileged, in terms of resources, finance, knowledge. People underestimate that as well. But being in an environment where, like you said, people aren't encouraged, so how are they going to encourage you? People aren't motivated, so how are they going to motivate you? People aren't informed, so how are they going to inform you? I feel like when you're constrained to an environment that does not encourage growth or elevation, it takes a different kind of willpower and a different kind of mentality. Like you have to be cut above the rest. You have to truly be set apart. To be able to be aware that the environment you're around is not going to allow you to grow. And then it's like, cool, who can I connect with? Who can I network with? What events can I go to, that allow me to see the world beyond where I grew up, the environment where I was based on, which I feel like something I had to do. I had to step out, I had to kind of take dominion over my own life and told myself, like, yeah, this is where I grew up, but this ain't where my destiny's gonna lay. This ain't where my fruits are gonna bear. Like, in terms of, of course I wanna, see growth and development in my community, but my aspirations go far beyond that. I'm not gonna allow, my circumstances to determine my destiny. So yeah, man, it takes a different kind of mentality, and that's not even being boastful. That's just me, recognizing my value, my worth, and ultimately what I can contribute to those that are lost, man. There's a lot of people lost, a lot of people that just don't have the knowledge, necessary to go beyond what's expected, like you referred to earlier, man.
I tell you, and as we were talking about the last time we met, like in North Greenwich, and we were saying about identifying with your values, your ethos, like what are your passions, like what motivates you, and it's so I've got this little project that this program essentially that I put together in tandem with my cousin Corey, who's a film director, Corey Smallwood, and some other friends who are in the production industry. So one is a journalist with the BBC. One is a sound engineer. So we've come together to put together this program to mentor children in disadvantaged areas, to give them production skills, essentially. So the idea is to train them in our disciplines. So the idea is to have it as an 8-week course. So every week, one of us instructs. So I would instruct rigging, TC would instruct lighting. Fred, we know he would go on sound designs to give these kids kind of tangible, real world experience and skills.
Serious.
And then at the end of this program, we're looking to do a short film. So we take the kids. Let's say we've got 10 to 12 kids in the group, and we break them up into pairs, 2s or 3s, and then we have a couple do scripts, write scripts, and so they can express their experiences. They can tell what's either important to them, or they can tell a story about the world that they understand. And similar to how I want this this forum to be something that bridges the gaps, that takes people from contrasting backgrounds and makes it relative to a more broad audience, to kind of bridge gaps. So the idea is to get these kids and have these kids be able to kind of communicate their experiences, and then at the same time to give them skills so they can go into a professional industry. It's like you don't have to have a degree, you don't have to go through traditional channels to go into lighting or sound design or rigging. You need real world experience, and that could change their realities and open a lot of doors for them. Then they could likewise open doors for people in their hoods, and so you think about like what you're passionate, and that's something that I'm just very passionate about. And so we were working with a group for an extended period. Unfortunately, things didn't work out such that we could actually organize cohesively. So I'm still looking for the right group to kind of initiate that project with. But it's all about once you identify what's important to you, what you're passionate about, and that then you work towards that, and then you look to manifest a reality where you can kind of immerse yourself in the things that you are passionate about or that are important to you. But first of all, you have to identify what those things are, and then you have to kind of have your life in such a way that it will foster those kinds of passions. But I think that's a very key part, or key responsibility, is, at least for me, and I think it's for you, likewise. Like we've come from kind of challenging situations, and we want to see people who have similar obstacles, kind of rise above them, and so hence here we are, kind of kicking off, this Epiphany Talks, with.
Common. But I feel like, just to touch on something that you just mentioned, I feel like, because you spoke about them hopefully wanting to give back to their hood, or back to their environment, or back to the area they grew up in. And I feel like that comes with a willingness. Like, it's not something that's inbuilt in everyone. Selflessness is something that's not built in everyone. It's something that it comes with a certain component of humility, because you understand that you didn't come from a place of wealth, or you didn't inherit wealth. You didn't come from a place of high expectations, or high efficiency or productivity skills. So in that sense, it's like you having a humility within you. It allows you to not see yourself or perceive yourself as better than anyone else. So then when you now grow and allow yourself to build and be in a position of power and authority, it allows you to think, if I was to bring a generation into this world, would I want them to go through the same struggles as me? But then even before that, you look at the youths within your environment, and then you ask yourself as well, they don't deserve to have the hurdles or the stumbling blocks that they are faced with. So again, it's not something that's built within everyone. Even those that do come from deprived areas, it really takes unique individuals to allow allow themselves to be selfless and understand that, yeah, I do need to elevate, I do need to grow, I do need to gain some sort of wealth, because at the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of responsibility on my plate as well. I'm not trying to just feed myself. I got other people I'm trying to feed as well.
I do think that it's a case where it's something that feeds into itself in the same way that, we're saying that success, it's hard to, how can you aspire to success or aspire to more than you have a familiarity with, if there is no infrastructure, or if there's nothing that you can emulate that you see in your neighborhood, then how can you know that you want to be more? It's impossible. It's impossible if it's not relative to you. And so every time you get like a little seed, say like yourself, or me, like, and then you go back, and then the people, they see that and they be like, oh wow, like I like how that cat maintains himself. It's like, oh wow, he's a person of respect, and he's like, wow, you can be more than either just like a hustler, or just kind of rely on your cool. You can actually be upstanding, and I think it's important. If you bring those positive characteristics back to the hood, then people will emulate that, and they'll want to be a part of it. And then, I think it's success is a habit.
Yeah.
And if you bring that, and if, you teach other people, how to become familiar, or for it to be normal to succeed, or to realize your dreams, then it just feeds into itself. You talk about, it's like, well, for me, developing assets, it's nice, but what I really want is I want to see industry back where I'm from. And so we haven't really talked very much. I grew up on a farm in Wrightsville, Arkansas. It's like the middle of nowhere, and there is no industry there. There's no jobs. Like the standard is going up, quite a bit since I was a kid. But it's one of those areas, it's just like just deprived, like no resources. And I want, my dream is, my family's got land back there. It's like I want industry of some kind on our farmland. Like I would love to have I would love to have a permaculture farm. I don't know if you know what permaculture is, but it's kind of like organic, natural. It's like having farming so that this system feeds that system, and it's like not relying on pesticides, or like you want it to be kind of like carbon neutral, and so it's all about sustainability and living in balance, and being natural. And it's like I went vegetarian, back in January. Did I tell you, I'm vegetarian, So I went vegetarian back in January, and like all my life I thought, oh, it's something I could never do, and I did it, in January. It's like, wow, it's like really, really easy. And just to know that, you're a part of systems that are, it's like holistic in some way, like, that's I don't know, it's important to me. And I just want to have this permaculture farm, back in Arkansas. And I love my little brother, to run it, because I'm I love it here. I'm not really trying to go back to America. But I definitely want that back home. So I want my little brother to be running the farm, and I love to employ people, kind of from neighborhood friends and family, and just have a little like this little positive, kind of little oasis, in this place that necessarily hasn't had a whole lot, hadn't had things that people were proud of, and had respectability. And eventually I love for it to be an attraction for learning institutions, so for kids, elementary school kids, to come and learn about biodiversity and the ecosystem, and just how it lives in balance, and that so that's kind of like what I want to see from my people, from my hood, where I'm from.
That's empowering, man. That's empowering, no doubt. That's something Nipsey Hussle similarly. It's why I resonate with him a lot, man, because he understood. Not only did he value where he came from, and he valued his roots, but he also was such a selfless individual, and that's something that's not. It's not hard to. It's not easy, to do. It's not easy to be one, because especially when you're at a level of wealth, no doubt the more wealthy you get, it's a lot more difficult to manage the wealth. And also because of the way the world has constructed the definition of wealth and success. As we both know, success is a subjective thing. It's a subjective term. So your measures or means of success are no doubt inevitably going to be different to my own. And the way the world's constructed that, it's almost as though, you got to aspire for these particular assets, you could say, or these particular things that aren't really going to generate you revenue, but they make you seem as though you have a lot of revenue, which I feel personally is very backwards. I'm not into all of that. But something that Nipsey did that really resonated with me is that, when he got to a level of wealth, he understood, I'm comfortable and I've got wealth and my family are good. However, I've got a lot of excess revenue that I can use to better people that I grew up with, to better people that I know came from similar, surroundings and backgrounds as me, and they shouldn't have to face or go through or endure the things they're going through when there are systems put in place that could be helping them. But because of the fact that, again, like I said, everyone in this world is in it for themselves. Unfortunately, you do have the exceptions that, like I said, understand the responsibility we have to help one another. I personally feel that that's a responsibility in itself to be willing to help those that are way worse off than you. You know what I mean? And Nipsey was able to do that in to the extent of employing people, putting people into work, under his own business and his multiple ventures. Which is something I resonated with a lot, and I hope I can do one day myself. For me, it's just all about empowerment, man. It's just all about sharing knowledge, empowering people, giving them a platform to be better individuals and not allow circumstances they go through or, circumstances they have to deal with determine who they will become for many years to come. So, yeah, man.
As a matter of fact, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to take a second to thank our sponsors. And today we are, matter of factly, filming, this first episode of our Epiphany Talks at the Backstage Center in Pierfleet. It's an amazing facility just off the M25, right by, the Dartford Bridge. So excellent transportation links. It kind of relates back to what I was saying before about relationships, and been very fortunate to forge a great relationship with Jake and Louise, Ted, the people who kind of run the Backstage Center, and it's just a first class facility for they do film shoots here. They film kind of commercials, rehearsals for big, rock and roll acts. I was in here with Rod Stewart here recently. I've done loads of stuff down here, through production rigging. And they've been kind enough to grant us, usage of their facilities today to film this episode. And so, just wanted to thank, the guys at the Backstage Center for their continued support. And again, that's one of the reasons it's crucial to forge, good relationships with good people. And the team down here, they really are brilliant. And so if you've got a production, if you need a rehearsal space, anything relating to anything technical, they are also a learning institution. So, it helps to facilitate the growth and the knowledge of students. And so, thanks again to the guys at the Backstage Center. And we just appreciate what you do for us, and thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, large them up, man.
Anyways, all right. So back to our regularly scheduled program.
Yeah.
So talking about topics, I guess we talked about vision, and we talked about assets. Building relationships. responsibility to the hood. Is there anything off the top of your head beyond that in your topics?
Yeah, just as I feel like as individuals we should be receptive, man, and just be willing to gain knowledge from whatever we hear in it. So just as a general question, what would you say your definition of an entrepreneur is? Because I feel like that term is thrown a lot of the times, and I don't think people understand the magnitude and the weight behind the term in itself. So from your own perspective, what would you say an entrepreneur is?
For me, an entrepreneur is someone who can afford their life by means that they choose.
Oh, right.
So that there's some that they can choose what opportunities they want to take advantage of and develop. And so I don't know. It's difficult. As a self-employed rigger, I'm on the edge of being an entrepreneur. It's like I have to go and do physical work, to generate income. And so in that way, I am still a worker, but I can decide, I work for 10 different, I subcontract for 10 different companies, and I can work with, teams or, like on part of productions that that fulfill either my intellect or they're creative or interesting, or you're just working with teams of good people. And then also with my Epiphany content business, I focus on corporate media because it's just what I enjoy doing. I've photographed the odd wedding here and there. There was a period where I was highly active on LinkedIn, and as an entrepreneur, that wasn't fun to me. And so that's what entrepreneurship is about to me. It's like I don't enjoy marketing on LinkedIn, so I quit. I just don't do it, and I can still generate revenue and still achieve my objectives, in a way that I'm really happy with and pleased. But I'm not pushed around, by necessity. And so I think entrepreneurship is all about is about developing your own freedom or your own levity to do things the way you like, how and even this, setting up all this equipment, like I schooled myself on lighting and on audio and on camera work, and like I was important to use some of my little tidbits, what I've learned. And it's actually quite overwhelming when you start going into all the nuance, and I wanted to generate income through these creative means, so I schooled myself up, and now I generate revenue in a way that I enjoy on my own terms, and I take the projects that I want to be a part of.
That's powerful.
And so that's what entrepreneurship is. It's like taking your tool shed, taking your physical, what you have, like either some people had a gift to gab, some people can just sell, some people can just work tirelessly, some people are innovative, and you take what you have, the tools that you have available to you, and then you taper them to the need that's in the market. And to me, that is entrepreneurship, taking what you have, what you like to do, and then finding a niche that you can benefit or generate revenue through it and through those means.
No doubt, yeah, man. Yeah, just a piece of knowledge for those that are listening, man, taking it in, because yeah, man, I feel like growing up, it was always like, I want to be a businessman or I want to be a businesswoman, and the whole principle behind that was to make money. When you heard the term businessman, the only reason you heard it is because the connotations that came with it was money, profit, income, which is all nice, which is obviously the main thing that keeps, the business or the enterprise running. It is based on money, as we know. But then when you gain more knowledge and insight into it, and more so into entrepreneurship, you realize that you're being of service to people. And like I mentioned earlier, I feel like one of the responsibilities we have as human beings, as individuals, is to help one another. So when you look at it from entrepreneurship You know, you are almost helping someone else. You are being of benefit to their life. You're providing them with something that should add some kind of benefit to their life. So for me personally, I can't go into it with just the mindset of just profit. No doubt profit is a necessity when it comes to entrepreneurship. I'm not refuting that. But then after the profit, after I've made that sell, how is my product or my service, how has it benefited that individual? Has it empowered them? Has it enlightened them? Has it, you know, replenished them? So yeah, man, I'm a big fanatic on health, man. Whether it's, you know, physical, spiritual, mental, it's all about health, man. It's all about benefiting that customer on a level beyond just, you know, you've got money, you've got, you know, a product or a service worth the money you've paid. Yeah, that's cool. But how is it benefiting you in the long run? And that's why I'm tapping into entrepreneurship, but more specifically social entrepreneurship, because I feel like I'd like to define myself as a man of change. I want to know that, you know, what I'm implementing or what I'm doing is really having an impact, you know, on your life. And that similarly ties into the music. You know, that is coming soon. You know what I mean? I can't give you dates, guys, but it's coming. You know what I mean? It's coming. I know that music's gonna be touching souls, man. It's gonna be music with substance. You know, so music that, you know, you can't just, you know, bang your head to. You gotta kick back and be like, wow, that hit me, bro. Like, what you putting in that music, bro? You know what I mean? That kind of music that you can really resonate with. Cause yeah, man, I feel like me and you, I can totally say we're men of substance, men that, you know, understand that we're greater than what is perceived and greater than what is seen. You know, I know you feel me on that part.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
I tell you, man, it's I also like you said, you know, with talk about making the music. I know that you are passionate about, you know, like developing your line of fruit juices and having them out in production.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's crucial, you know, to not be necessarily linear or to, you know, kind of relegate yourself, you know, to this one, you know, kind of A to B mentality. You know, it's like, I think that as long as you can develop all the things that, you know, either that are important to you, then that's what entrepreneurship is about. Yeah, that freedom and that levity, and, you know, it's like, you know what you stand for, what's important to you, and yeah, you can just kind of develop those passions, kind of equally, or like as you feel.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's true. That's freedom. You know, to me, at the end of the day, is being able to do what you love, and sometimes just being able to just take a moment and just block it all out, and, you know, just take a few days, take a week, you know, just like take time off, just have space in your life, and that's a true gift, you know, like when you actually have your life in such a way that, you know, like it's like, what do I want, you know, today? How do I feel today? And it's like, that's like I saw some kind of article saying that the new currency or the new rich is being rich in time, and having time to do what you love and what you know appreciate. And I think that's a great way of kind of judging, you know, wealth, you know, in this new modern time. You know, it's just like having a space to create, or just a space to, you know, to spend time with your loved ones, just having space and time, and developing a life where you do have that space to do what you love and what's important to you.
Yeah.
It's critical to me going forward.
That's deep, man. I feel like another key trait that maybe an aspiring entrepreneur should definitely yield onto, and it links onto similar your testimony about you becoming a vegan, you know, and
Only vegetarian, not quite vegan. I'm not
okay,
crazy.
okay, you're not there yet. Okay, yeah, that part. Yeah, but you mentioned that it was easy for you. But I just wanted to highlight to those that may be taking this in, man, that I feel personally the only reason you found it easy is because you understand the significance of discipline, and that's something that, as an aspiring entrepreneur, you need to yield onto, man. You need to yield onto and understand that it's not easy because you're going against the norm.
That might be the best point of anything that's been said today.
Yeah. You think that one? Yeah.
Discipline is just so crucial.
Yeah. No, but you
Big
want to
respect.
touch on with that? Do you want to touch on that?
I try not to. You can't judge other people in the context, of what you're willing to take on yourself. Like I said, you hold yourself to a higher standard. I've done, similarly. That's the only way that, we've been able to elevate from where we've come from to where we are today. And, that discipline and that chastity. And it is something, there is no substitute for it. There are no shortcuts, out there. And it, Jesus. I'm lucky, because my mom, she was a disciplinarian, and she held me to an incredibly high standard, from a very young age. My grandfather, growing up on a farm, is a great man, and that's why I think it's really important to have positive influences, positive role models, to give you, good principles, and yes. I guess discipline for me, even the discipline, I guess, to set up all of this equipment, like we're not getting paid. This is not for money. Like, again, this is not like some cool, trendy, awesome, give me loads of likes on Instagram. We're just hoping that, like 10 people view it. And it's like of those, one of those people, someone that you can link with and build and continuing, a mutual, network of, kind of realizing our visions in that. And as it relates to discipline, it is, I think there's not much greater reward, than having discipline, holding yourself to a high standard, and then achieving, what you envision or what you wish as a result of it, because it's a hugely rewarding, kind of feeling when discipline and focus and commitment pays off.
Yeah.
But I think you probably have to give it up to your mom, to your dad. Likewise. I think we spoke before, and it doesn't come, just by chance. I think we're very, very fortunate, to have parents and to have peers, to have had some teachers along the way, who have pushed us and who have challenged us, and who knew that we were better than what we were giving at that time. And discipline is like, I think it doesn't come necessarily from within. You accept it, but it really comes from being just fortunate in the presence of people who understand the merits of it and who know that you have the potential to be more than average. And big up moms, big up to my granddad. But it's definitely one of those things that my ability, to be highly disciplined and chaste is something that I respect and admire about myself. And it's a critical component, to success and to thriving. And that's what's up. Real. But beyond that, brother, is anything else you wanted to chop up or?
Anything else? I'm thinking of anything of substance, man, because like I said, man, we're not here to be just speaking on anything. This is just matters of substance, of knowledge. People, I'm hoping anyway, of knowledge that people can, gain an insight from, and if not, just like you said, man, just understanding where we're coming from, our values. Obviously, only so much can be said in a video, but there definitely will be more to come. From the both of us, just
collaborations, linking. To me, that's something that's very important. On the back of this is connecting with people who share either similar, kind of either vision or admiration for those intrinsic values. I think that we talked about, and I know how for me personally, it's a really, I'm looking forward to the next group. Like I don't want this necessarily to always just be two people talking. Sometimes I think it'd be important for it to be, a group of 5 or 6, and I don't want it to be like this debate thing. Is just an opportunity to share, connect, and to bridge like gaps, like like I've said before. And so I'm kind of I would love for I guess anybody who either resonates with or wants to see this grow or just to take part of it, take part in this, kind of reach out, get in touch, and let's look forward to kind of putting something together. Yeah, we're going to sit down and talk about the things that are important to you. And it doesn't always have to involve me. You could be you, and you could be your people. You could be somebody I know. Like we could put other people together, and just kind of have this forum, for discourse, for connecting, for building, and hopefully we can look at how to kind of develop entrepreneurship with other individuals, who are either already successful or up and coming, youngsters, or they just wanted to be as open-ended and inclusive as possible, and it's just all about building, connecting, and growing. So,
no doubt, and again, man, like we're all on a marathon. No one's at the finish line as of yet. There obviously are a lot of wealthy, successful people as we speak, but on the basis of us right now, we're all on a marathon. So no doubt, I'm still gaining knowledge. I'm not a finished article. I've still got my fair share of hurdles and sprints to make as well. So yeah, man, if that means having to network with more people, building a team as well, I'm all down for that, because at the end of the day, if you do aspire to do something, as I mentioned, that is against the norm, you need more than just your own practical work, because this isn't a 9 to 5. This is a legacy you're building, and with that comes a lot of responsibility that you can't delegate all just upon yourself. You need people that can equally understand that vision, understand that path, understand that that channel, and are equally willing to put in as much work rate that you are, which is a beautiful thing. When you do collaborate with those people that can understand where you're coming from, but ultimately understand where you're trying to head, then it's a marathon that you guys are destined to win, man. There's no third or second place. Everyone's coming first. You know what I mean? That's how I like to look at life, as just a marathon, because there's gonna be times where it does get tiring, and you're gonna look at where you're gonna be in the next couple of years, and look at yourself and be like, raw, can I make it to where these other people have made it? Can I achieve what they've achieved? Do I have it in me? Do I have the willpower and the determination in me to push forward? But when you understand that, you're not competing against other people, but you're running your own marathon, that's when you understand that inevitably there are going to be hurdles put in place and obstacles put in place to see you trip up and fall. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But understanding that there's longevity that comes with it, that allows you to endure, that provides you with the water, the nutrients you need to keep pushing forward, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's what's gonna allow me to excel beyond the expectations I know and the stereotypes I know that are set against me. But yeah, I can't settle for less, man. I'm sure you can agree, Kevan.
No doubt, my brother.
You know what I mean?
And on that note, I'm happy to call that a wrap, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Thank you so much for participating, and glad that we're building. And like I said, it's a marathon,
Facts.
Yeah, we got a lot more steps to go. So, brother,
well, come on, serious.
Big respect.
Stay tuned, man.
Yes, brother.
Stay tuned.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time, man. For real.